Hello everyone, welcome back to the IT blog, cybersecurity news. Today we're going to discuss Atlassian and its product Confluence. So, who is Atlassian? Atlassian is a software development company that engineers products to help other engineering companies streamline projects, collaborate code, deploy code efficiently, and like the keyword there is agile, being very agile, and then store critical system and product information in a central place where everyone could just collaborate and talk about and read about. And that's where Confluence kicks in. So Confluence is that central place where teams can collaborate and gather information. It's more like, hey, where can I get more information about how this network or product was engineered, built, and designed? Oh, check out the Confluence page, look up XYZ. And that's essentially how they collaborate. And that critical system database website that holds all that critical system information relating to the customer is now exploitable or has a vulnerability. And so, how was this vulnerability discovered? So, Vosity is a incident response organization that responded to a hack by their customer who uses Confluence and obviously leverage Vosity's expertise to respond to an attack. Now, prior to this, and this was the Memorial Day weekend, prior to this, no one knew of what was going on. Wall Street discovered it was a hack and exposing Confluence's product, and they put a CVE together, a common vulnerability exposure, uh, I guess, release of information to the public in June 2nd, and on June 4th it was patched. So, which is great. Atlassian was able to patch it very quickly, and as well as distribute a workaround. And essentially, the workaround is putting a firewall in front of their Confluence server, so that way you, as a organization, can mitigate if you are in the middle of transitioning from an older legacy system to a newer, or maybe you're just trying to remove Confluence itself. You can there's ways to modify files within Confluence um, configuration files, as well as putting a firewall in front of it. And uh, but this particular vulnerability, though, during the time of its discovery, and it was about a week um, from the time of Memorial Day hack to when it was patched, it was 2 days from it being exposed as a CVE. Hey, this is released. These are forensics. This is how it was done and replicated. To when it was patched, it was 2 or 3 days. Um, but this is 0 day essentially. The vendor itself, Atlassian, and their Confluence engineers had no idea that this was possible, and they were pretty quick on it. And also during the discovery of Atlassian said, "Hey, we're confident this Friday this is going to be patched and ready to go. We're going to have a patch for you." So during those days, though, a lot of organizations were very concerned. We don't know when this is going to get patched. They're saying it's going to be Friday, but when is it really going to be patched? And what type of exposures? And think of the cybersecurity teams at that side trying to make sure that the executive teams are calm and that we're okay. We've put mitigations in place to prevent this attack. And this is where security professionals really shine. Where okay, there's a 0 day. It's not patched. Now what do we do? And the security professional will say, look, this is the only way they could determine. They read the CVE, right? And this is how they're exploiting this. This is our mitigation for now until they, and we're 100% confident once the vendor itself releases a patch. So, what is this really vulnerability trying to accomplish? It's leveraging a remote code execution, and the remote code execution is meant to gain or execute code that the hackers pushing to the server or to the exploitable system. And so a hacker would interact with the web server Confluence and then send code to it and then tell Confluence server to run that code. And typically what they're trying to do there is get elevated privileges of the system. If you get root administrator privileges, if you're on Windows, root for Linux, you're able to then either generate a reverse shell, which is I type in on my computer information, it processes it in the remote site, and then sends the output to my terminal here, like wherever I'm at, right? And then if you do that, then now you could just comfortably send commands to from your system from uh, the Confluence server, and you can send data. Well, actually, not even that. Forget about making the secure connection remote. You don't have to do that because if they're blocking remote connections out, you can somehow send it, tell the code, the product, to send your output to here, and or maybe you can. There's a lot of different things you can do. Once you're, and I don't want to get too technical here. If you want to more detailed on the particular execution, how it was done, I would recommend kind of searching up some of the links in my on my blog there, and I gave more detailed explanation as to some of the specifics of this particular vulnerability and how they exploited it. But you essentially, if you could do remote execution, remote code execution, you're able to do a lot of things, and you would consider now the Confluence server data and the server itself completely exposed and compromised. So that's in those few days, the organization's executives were probably unaware, and so the security team then just like said, "Hey." Um, so my response to my take, I guess, not my response, my take from Atlassian is that one, they were very responsive. And in a few days, they were able to patch it. As well as not only patched, they were able to tell you, hey, these are the particular files that were exposed. If you delete these, modify these, you're able to just mitigate potential attacks leveraging this vulnerability. They're also uh, just very transparent as to who identified it, gave credit to Volcity, and thanked them for it. But my concern here is that in 1 year they had two CVEs leveraging remote code execution. One was patched in August 2021, and so and I detailed it in my blog. Go ahead and look that up, and if you're interested. And that's really concerning. There, it's I'm wondering if their code from that's being developed is really being. I wonder how much security professionals are looking at that code and analyzing it for all the potential attacks can be done on the software side of attacks, because this is what's leveraging software related cyber hacks, cyber security attacks happening there. Things like buffer overflow, reverse shell, race conditions, things like that are being leveraged here to compromise Confluence product and some of Atlassian's products. So that's my only take. But out of all the posts I've done recently regarding organizations treating cybersecurity and how they responded to these vulnerabilities being exposed or hacks, Atlassian is by far the best thus far. That just relating to my blogs and my posts. So I'm really just that's a breath of fresh air. However, this is a software development tech company responding. It isn't like Coca-Cola, whose goal is to sell Cokes. Like it's a different leadership, right? And I think that's a very key thing to be had here is organizations who have a tech background, they take security more like it's a high level thing. If their goal is to sell tickets to an event, um, sell Cokes, sell food, restaurants, things like that, they don't really take it um, as a high priority. Their goal is to move product operations, things like that. It's not really security side. That's a little concerning because now with our digital world, we everyone deals with social security numbers, right? You get onboarded to a company, you giving them your ID, your passport, your social security, like all this stuff, you're sending it to them. So this is also a thing. If you care about your identity and how your information is being protected by an organization, look at your employer and how they treat IT and security. At what level do they treat it? Because if they're compromised, from the inside think of, oh well, who cares? They're thinking, well, who cares about our information? Like, okay, like you're stealing, I don't know, whatever product we are selling, right? I mean, if you're a candy person, you're selling, all right, we don't build this candy stuff, whatever. But what if they steal all your employees' socials, contact numbers, emergency contact numbers, like, right? So every organization should consider cybersecurity as a high level. But Atlassian is just really just impressive how quickly they were able to patch this 0 day, and the credit that they gave. But just concerned about the product. I mean, in 1 year they had to very high level rating of a security vulnerability being released to the public, and they had to quickly patch it. So that's my take. I really appreciate everyone. Comment any questions you have, or if you enjoy more of these, let me know. Put a comment down below on what you would like to hear more of, and then hit a like. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Peace.